If you understand science, you can do some pretty cool stuff. My name is Anthony Morgan. I am a professional science communicator. I'm a PhD researcher, and I'm one of the new co-hosts of The Nature of Things on CBC television. A good science communicator basically is like a professor at Hogwarts. Their job is to show people magic, blow their minds with it, and then just tell them how they do their tricks, how the magic works, and how they can do it too. I have been able to blow stuff up on TV. I've vacuum sealed myself to buildings in downtown Toronto. I've hosted science TV shows and radio shows. I've gotten to do stage shows with TMU at Science Rendezvous. I've been able to work with ASAP Science and SciShow. I might even show you how to set somebody on fire safely and with consent. When I started my company, Science Everywhere, in 2014, I was doing all kinds of weird live street science, basically, street busking. And it was really fun and people were learning a ton, but I had no idea how to make this a sustainable business. I knew how to do science communication. I did not know how to run a business. And so I came to TMU because they had this thing called a startup incubator that teaches people who have a great idea but don't know how to run a business how to do just that. My goal as a science communicator has always been to build a science culture, to build the kinds of social norms that make it more likely that people think like scientists in their everyday lives. In 2018 and 2017 and all around that time, we were seeing a lot of political turmoil and difficulty talking about really important scientific issues like climate change and GMOs and inequality, things that science could help us fix, but we weren't thinking like scientists about them. And I wanted to figure out what we could do about that. So in 2019, I decided I was going to start my PhD here at TMU to study that specific question. The reason I think we've become politically polarized is that when humans feel threatened, we know that there's safety in numbers. And so we have a tendency to form these groups. And these groups adopt unhelpful social norms, rules for operation. The first rule is attack people who don't believe what I believe. The second rule is attack people on my own side who aren't willing to attack people who don't believe what I believe. And so we get stuck in this cycle where you're either an enemy of mine or an enemy sympathizer. Freestyle socials are a party game where disagreements make you laugh instead of lose faith in humanity. They're a game based on all of my research aimed at figuring out how we can have better conversations around these controversial topics. The weird thing about my research is I am technically studying in the molecular science program. And anytime I mention that to friends or family, they're like, aren't you a social science researcher? And I'm like, yeah, but molecular science has this subdomain, this subdiscipline focused on something called pedagogy. In other words, how do we teach more effectively about climate change, about vaccines, about GMOs? I'm focused on that problem, right? We know that from the last 2 years of the pandemic, we haven't been doing a good job of teaching about vaccines or climate change or mask wearing. And so this game helps us to address that problem. Having been selected as one of the new hosts of The Nature of Things, the thing that I'm probably the most excited about is getting to professionally be playfully curious. My job is literally to travel around the world, finding the most fascinating people that I can, being as curious as I want to be, and getting to share all that enthusiasm with the Canadian viewing public. I can't imagine a job that I could love more than that. I'm really lucky.